Because litigation is it's the game of kings. If both parties walk away from settlement feeling like it wasn't a good deal, it's a good deal. If a lawyer tells you this is slam dunk, run fast. The furthest distance in the world is from your head to your hand.
This is part 2 with Jason Pritchett. He breaks down risk, leadership, and why smart lawyers think like CEOs. This is Verdicts Vogue with Cristina Perez Hassano.
I don't know if you knew that I went to night school as well. Do you remember that?
Listen, we go back like 4 flats on a Cadillac. Let's be honest. There's, come on. Yes, I knew that. You got that grinder mentality as well.
So I did. I went to Brooklyn Law for a stint before I came out to Arizona and went to ASU. So I've had both experiences. So I've had the daytime and the
What did
the
you
night
prefer?
experience. You know, I don't think I was mature enough during to really appreciate the daytime experience. Plus, I really didn't hang out with a lot of people from law school. I never kept in touch with them. I didn't have like that group. I was kind of in my, my own little world. When you've met me, I was very different than I am today.
I think we all were, Chris, let's be honest. As to use a Chris term, I think we've all been domesticated. That's the word she used to love to say. I'll never be domesticated. Yeah, well, look now.
You know what? I didn't know we were going to be throwing things out like that.
Listen, I'm just...
Let's not forget I have pictures.
Listen, I'm just being transparent. These are the words that came directly from your mouth. I will never be domesticated. As she sits here in a suit today.
You know what? I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't remember it. And you're right. And I remember exactly where I said it.
I know exactly where you said it as well. I think it was a subway platform in Madrid. I think is where that famous phrase was uttered. Yeah. We're not going to say what time of night it was. But...
It must have been like past 10 o'clock for sure.
Oh, by the time you're in bed by now. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? That was another great experience. But before that, you ended up coming here, taking a job completely different from the trial work. Correct. And I remember that you were doing defense work for, was it train companies?
Yeah. So, best laid plans don't always work out. So I came out here with the understanding that, once again, wanting to be at that intersection of business and sports. So I was coming out to do a job that I thought was more transactional in nature with some sports things sprinkled in. This was the year 2006 and 7. So if you can remember what was happening in 6 and 7.
Your kid's 6, 7.
Which, by the way,
we have kids the same age, so you hear it.
I hear it all the time.
And they go like this for some reason.
I'm sure we had our thing too. That if we talked to our parents, they were like, "I don't understand what you guys were saying." This one makes no sense.
I don't understand it either.
I once again, I'm old. I'm embracing being old. But no, I had this idea of wanting to come out here to do that. And in 6 and 7 and 8 here in Phoenix, the sky was falling in. It was terrible.
You were not happy. I remember that.
I was not happy because there was no work in that area. And so the firm basically was of the mindset that said, listen, we have to do what is available. So I split my time for the first 5 years of my career between litigation and whatever transactional crumbs I could find. But the majority of it was litigation. And, God bless the firm and the people that I had to work for. As I look back on it now, I would have been very disgruntled with Jason as an associate as well, because I wasn't very happy. It's not what I wanted to do.
Well, you were doing railroad.
I was working. We were representing one of the main clients of the firm was BNSF Railroad, and so that's there was a lot of litigation with regards to that. So it's commercial lit. We all know, for us who do litigation, that is a very intense research, writing, dry type thing. Yeah. And for me, I'm a big picture. I like to see the big picture, but a lot of that was siloed. Like, look at this specific issue.
Yeah, you have to just
give me this, and put me to sleep. But once again, looking back, right, that experience is what has helped me in my current position be able to see the entire playbook when it comes to dealing with clients. So I can literally say to clients when I sit down, I can see your business from inception, from the corporation commission, all the way through 12 people in a box. And so let's build in some some safeguards and protocols for dealing with how to assess risk, how to assess whether or not you want to take that risk, because everybody's got a risk appetite, how we can prevent certain things from keeping you up at night, That whole process only comes from having experienced what litigation is. Because litigation is it's the game of kings, is what I say. It's expensive.
As heck.
No one is ever happy at the end, even if you win.
You know.
Even if you win and you hand your client a bucket full of money, their response is probably going to be, well, I shouldn't have had to be here in the first place. All right.
That, or it gets appealed, or they file bankruptcy, or, I mean, there's all these other things even after you win. So a lot of times when you win, you still lose, is what I always say. You have to remember this is what we're in it for a long haul.
It is the last what I tell my clients, this is the nuclear approach. You have to decide everything else before, if you push this button, if you pull that lever, it's got to be the last thing you're willing to do.
And I can tell you that I can tell everyone, and I feel comfortable saying that, because when I ever have an issue or a problem, you're the attorney that I call, right? So it's like if I have a transactional issue, if I have questions as to whatever, and I remember approaching you not too long ago saying, Jay, I want to do this. I need to, and you're like, Chris, do you want to do this? If you do this, you would win. But it's gonna blow up everything around you. And I took your advice, and then I said, and at one point you were like, no, you have to sue. He's like,
listen, there comes a point where you got to draw a line in the sand as a business owner, saying, okay, I'm not going to allow this to happen, because it sets a bad precedence for the business. It's something about not allowing someone to continually put you in a situation in which your legacy or your family or your company is at risk. Sometimes you got to make that decision. Yeah. But my thing with clients is be well informed before you make that decision. Because once you make that decision, you got to think your business, whatever it is, as we say in law school, widgets. It could be doing whatever, right? It's to do that. It's not to litigate. It's not to sit for depositions. It's not to answer requests for interrogatories or admissions or anything like that. So if I'm in the middle of litigation, I'm literally taking the focus away from my business to do something that doesn't generate any kind of financial or growth or market share cap.
And it does the opposite.
It takes away my employees' time. It takes away my time, resources, all of that. Now, sometimes it's necessary, but sometimes ego gets in the way. And sometimes you got to sit down and say, listen, you don't want to do this, because you're going to lose even if you win. Because by the time we get through with this, you've taken 2 years away from your focus of your business to focus on this issue. And that's why sometimes settlement is the best option. My mentality with settlement is this. If both parties walk away from settlement feeling like it wasn't a good deal, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
If one party walks away feeling like that was a great deal, it's not a good settlement.
No, I agree with you. And that's what we often hear when we get to the mediation stage, where you both walk away feeling uncomfortable, but it's done, then it's fair.
Yeah.
So it's not meant to be a landslide for one person.
No, it's not. And so that experience in litigation has kind of built the backbone for my view of how I approach transactions to this day. Is from seeing like what happens when things go wrong. Because when you have that experience, it helps you to prepare your client for whatever potentially might come in the future, but also to build in certain things to help them avoid that.
Sure.
Because you're able to sit down and say, look, I've seen how this turns out. You don't want to do that, or you want to do this. Because every time there's a decision where there's some conflict or potential disputes in a business, my response to the business owner how do you think 12 people are going to view that? People that you don't know.
And you're putting this decision in the hands
of 12 people that you don't know. Are you willing to take that risk? Because we all got to take risk. That's the thing about business. It's the thing about law. It's all about risk. Some people's risk appetite are bigger than others. And you got to be okay with that, right? But just as long as you're realizing what you're doing is risky. I tell clients all the time, if a lawyer tells you this is a slam dunk, run fast.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a slam dunk in business. There's always risk involved. So what risk are you willing to take? And if that's a risk that you're willing to take, great. Let's figure out how to make that risk as least painful if it goes bad as possible. And that experience of being in litigation helps.
And then with your experience, you ended up taking all of your experience and then deciding to go out on your own,
Yes.
hanging your own shingle.
Yes.
Where you were the Pritchett Law
Yep.
for about 7 years.
That's correct.
And then you went and decided to go into a new venture, what we call at ABS, Alternative Business Structure.
Yep.
And you and a group of investors purchased Radix.
Yeah. So just to hit on a little bit on my time as being a solo, shout out to the Pritchett Law Firm. I did that in 2011, which was the time where no one was doing M&A work. And I didn't have a lot of experience doing M&A work, to be completely honest with you. But it was one of those things that, going back to risk, I was
and
like,
M&A, for those who don't know, mergers and acquisitions.
mergers and acquisitions, transactional work.
Yeah.
Just the market wasn't there. But I had a dream of what I wanted to do. And I wasn't going to be truly happy practicing law until I got to do that. And so there was some risk, there were some sacrifices, and there were some things that, were out of my control that forced me into that situation. There were things that were in my control that still made me want to go in that direction. But yeah, that was a very interesting experience for me, having to run a business, wear multiple hats, from marketing to being a janitor to being the guy actually doing the work, doing it all. I mean,
I take out the garbage cans.
Yeah, you got to do it all.
I do everything.
You got to be willing to do it all.
I should not take that much credit. I do a lot, but I have a wonderful team. I'm looking for her who does like 10 times more than I do. Nah.
But here's the thing. I know you, Chris, well enough to know that there was a period of time when you did do that.
I did everything.
And
yeah.
so, as you know, a lot of my life is tied to sports analogies. You can't ask someone to do something that you haven't done yourself.
I always say that.
As a leader, I can't expect you to do something that I haven't gone through and done myself.
Sure.
If I know what it feels like to take out the trash, I have no problem saying, hey, man, the trash just get taken out. Because I know what that feels like. Just the same way it knows, when you're talking to associates or interns, whatever, hey, I need you to find the answer to this question. And I don't want some half-baked answer. Because we've gone through what that feels like to be on the opposite side of having to do that. So I think it's important from a leadership standpoint to remember that the people that are following you are always going to look at your example of what you have done. You can say all the things all you want, but when you can literally say, oh, I know how that feels. You can have empathy.
Sure.
Empathy with their situation. That's when you get people to buy into the team mentality, which I think is important.
I think it's very important. I mean, and being a leader means not thinking that you're too good for a position.
Never.
That's right.
Never.
And I actually, as you were talking, I recall I can still remember your voicemail when you were at the Pritchett Law. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it, Chris.
I love it. That.
Sometimes you just have to say, yes, I'm going to.
I thought it was so cool. I was like, how does he have a voicemail with a British person talking? I want one too.
AI. I was AI before AI, right? Right?
She was so polite.
She was so not Jason, but yes.
She was not Jason. Welcome to the Pritchett Law Firm.
I can probably still have that file somewhere.
We are not available right now, but if you want to talk to Jason.
Your inquiry. Yes, I do remember. See, who's throwing stones now, Chris?
You know what? I got to get one back.
Okay.
Right?
All right. All right.
So now you go into the venture, open up Radix, purchase Radix, take over Radix. Then you are now bringing in, and you essentially transformed the way that a law firm had been traditionally run, because it was what I would call a mom and pop. I mean, it was a mid-sized firm,
for sure.
But it wasn't a large firm. It wasn't a solo firm. But you brought in the business mentality. You started running that business like a business where you have answering to a board, how were you able to implement that, and how was that transition completed?
So I met my current business partner now, Andy Kvesic, a mutual friend, said, you guys need to have breakfast together. And I was at the point in time where I knew I had to scale my current solo practice to a bigger platform because of, once again, dreams.
Sure.
One of my favorite quotes ever. And I think I've shared this with you, Chris. And the reason why I'm smiling when I say this is because I know it resonates with you. If your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough.
That's right.
Because you're a big dreamer and you have big dreams. I can remember our time in Madrid just chatting about like dreams of what we want to do with the legal profession. I can still remember some of your stuff was crazy. I'll not mention some of it. Maybe somehow the Pope or something. I forget. Anyways,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dreamers. We're both big dreamers. And that dream is what allowed me to meet with Andy. And we said, you know what? We want to do this different. Because with Arizona changing the rules, was it 4 years ago, that non-lawyers can now own law firms, we saw this as an opportunity. Andy and I are very like-minded in the entrepreneurial spirit. We're very different. And I appreciate him to this day because he's very good at the things that I'm not very good at, and I'm good at the things that he doesn't like to do either. And so finding a partner that you can have that relationship with is rare, and also something that I would advise young lawyers to look for. Find someone who's good at doing the things you're not good at doing, because it's going to do two things for you. One thing is going to make you be humble and realize you're not good at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And number two is going to make you rely on somebody else, and that person rely on you. So it keeps you accountable, keeps you humble, and it keeps you accountable. So we decided that, you know what, we're going to merge, because he was kind of doing this own thing, kind of solo as well. We're going to merge our firms together, and we're going to go and buy this other firm. There was an opportunity to do that. Now, this is going to strike a lot of the people in this podcast probably in a give them a little heartburn. Lawyers and doctors are probably the worst business people on the planet.
Oh, I say that all the time.
Just absolutely terrible.
Because you're not taught to be a business owner when you are in law school. They don't teach you it's all theory, and they don't teach you anything that's practical. You have to have some other type of experience, I think, before going to law school to really understand, if you're going to hang up your own shingle, the things that you need to do.
How to run a business.
Yes.
It is devoid. It is absolutely devoid in any legal curriculum that I've seen to date. Now, I'm sure that there's been some changes over the years, but that's one thing. I'm that old guy now. That's saying.
You keep referring to yourself as old. I don't know about you, partner, but I'm young.
Okay. I think at the end of the day, we should have an internship after you get done with law school.
I've said that forever. Apprenticeships.
I think you should do 2 years
even though I don't know how well it would work, because Kim Kardashian did an apprenticeship and she recently failed.
I'm not going to. You're going to see. I see what you're doing. See what you're doing. See exactly what you're doing. I'm not taking the bait. We need an internship for these young lawyers coming out, for the simple fact that you're stepping into a profession that is centuries old and that is ever changing. And even by the time from what you learn from passing the bar to when you first step into the office, it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's changing even faster nowadays.
It's light speed these days.
When you're implementing things like AI and you're implementing things like remote officing and this and that, and now the ABS, it's moving so fast. And I feel like not having that grounded, ethical experience early on can come back to bite you.
I agree. I would agree 100%.
Because it's not always black and white when it comes to the law.
Most of the times it's always gray.
It's gray. And a lot of the way to differentiate what's the right way to go is experience. And when you have zero experience and all of a sudden I'm sitting down with young Cristina Perez and I'm saying, or still young Cristina Perez. Still young. Sorry. Younger Cristina Perez. And I'm asking you to give me some guidance about a business or a situation involving my family. You have no experience.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a little scary.
It can be scary for sure. Because think about, most people get out of college when they're 21, 22, and they go right into law school. They're walking out as a lawyer at 25, 26 years old. And
you've been in a vacuum. You've been in a test tube for 20 some years.
And then you can go ahead and practice. And you can open up your shingle. There's nothing saying that an attorney that just gets out of law school can't open up a shingle. And if they have zero experience, then
there's been tons of success stories of people starting out on their own without having the experience that have done well. I think that's the exception to the rule, in my opinion. And I think it just would help everyone as a whole within the legal organization to have something like that. That would help for large firms, small firms, medium-sized firms to have a better group of recruits to be able to look for, which helps efficiency, which then drives down costs for clients, which then drives down drives up the profitability of the business. But when you're having to spend so much time just literally teaching how to run a business or how to do whatever that they don't get in law school, that's not very efficient. So, long story short, we decided that this is what we wanted to do, and to that end, to kind of help us protect us against that, we said, you know what, we're going to bring in a group of investors. We're going to have a board, an investor board, and we're not really using them for capital. We're using them to teach us how to run a business. And so we strategically chose different individuals from different sectors of business, manufacturing, real estate, whatever. And we relied on them for, here's what we're doing, which kept us accountable. We had to do, quarterly, board meetings and agendas and all that stuff that when you're running it on your own, you're just like, I have it in my head. I know what I'm doing. The furthest distance in the world is from your head to your hand. You can have all the ideas up here, write them out, see how well that works. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough, especially when you have to tell someone else who has decades in business, here's what we're going to do. Their response is going to be, well, why, Jason? Why are you going to do that? And that makes some people uncomfortable, right? That pushback is where you grow. And so having an investor or board situation like that, where they are asking you pointed, very valid questions, I think helps you grow.
One of the criticisms of those types of situations, we're saying, okay, ABSs, investors, you're going to have people that you have to answer to, which the board is going to put the financial interest of the firm over the client interest. That was one of the main arguments that they had, because now you would have to make sure you get approval from the board before you either do something with the client. Like, is there any truth to that? Do you see that at all? Or is that just something that you can protect against?
Well, first of all, the board should not be involved with any client interaction at all. So that's the one thing I think people get a little mixed up when we're talking about ABS. Your ABS has a compliance attorney that really is keeping the firm in compliance with the rules that come down with the Supreme Court. But as far as the day-to-day interaction with the clients, your board shouldn't have anything to do with that, because it's not, for one thing, none of them are lawyers. Or I shouldn't say none of them, most of them aren't lawyers. Their job is simply to assist in the practice of the growth of the business. Okay. What are your business practices? But as far as the day-to-day minutia of dealing with clients, they should not be involved, and we didn't have them involved with that. We're basically simply saying, we generated this much profit from our work with clients. How should we implement it? How should we break that down? What should we do with it? Should we invest it back in the business? Should we look to scale? Should we do more marketing? Should we hire more individuals? All those different business decisions that, on top of practicing, are important to have some guidance with, because that's where I think lawyers and doctors and other people have a disconnect. You can be the best lawyer or doctor in the world, but does that mean you understand what to do with your profits, or to do with your risk, or to do with your retention policies, or to do with your employees, hiring, all that stuff? So think about it. You're doing all the things that are really complicated and complex already when it comes to practice. Now, on top of that, I'm throwing on, hey, by the way, run a business.
All the admin stuff.
Do that too. And do it well. It's not, it is a recipe for mediocrity is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't work, because there are tons of practices that do have that situation going on. But before the ABS came along, the question I asked for a lot of those people who are saying those questions or those concerns is, when is the last time you heard a law firm being sold? Not merged, sold.
Oftentimes they're not, because the partners, the main principle is
there's
will.
No assets.
Yeah.
The law firm has zero assets. It's a service-based industry. And the clients determine whether or not they're going to stay at the firm or not. So as a business, you're running a business that literally has no assets. And so our mentality was, we've got to change that. We got to change that. We got to have some assets that are tied to the business that makes us a little bit more appealing from a business projection standpoint, in that this has value. If the value is only tied to the partners and the partners are only there for a period of time and they have the freedom to go and leave and do whatever else or retire, or unfortunately, no one lives forever, you can't control any of that, right? What you can control is the assets that the business does operate and keep, right? And so that was our mentality in going in with the ABS, was we really need to create an asset-driven based business. And people thought we were crazy. Because everyone was using ABS simply for one thing, which was to fund lawsuits.
Yeah.
And so we would sit down and like, what? Doesn't make any sense. The best analogy I could give is it's a bicycle rim, and all the spokes from the different things. We at one point in time, we actually as a firm held assets before we were a merger. That then became service through the law firm, those assets that we had, whether it's contracts or whatever else, which generates more money. And then at the end of the day, our investors actually saw a profit as well. So, like I said, people thought it was crazy in the beginning because we weren't using the traditional path that I think everyone was. But I think as we discussed earlier in this podcast, we're not very traditional people, Chris, you and I. So,
well, I mean, it's been a success. I mean, you've been a pioneer, and I know Andy sits on the board or the ethics, the committee to the
approval committee for the Supreme Court. Yep.
Yeah. So I know I've had the pleasure of meeting him.
Would we call it that? Are you calling it?
He was a nice guy. I like him.
Andy's great.
Like him. So what is the future now the future that you'd like to see for the firm?
I like to see the firm to continue to, the one thing that has always been very important to me is it is really all about the client. When we lose sight of that, we lose sight of our vision. We lose sight of our goal. And as a collective group, if you don't have a goal or a vision, what are we doing? We're just kind of operating simply to operate and probably just for profit.
Yeah.
So for my thing is, it's all about clients. Are we providing the best service and efficiency for the client? Whether it's through business, whether it's through networking or whatever it is. I tell all my lawyers, it's important for you to be able to meet and supply clients' needs, even if it has nothing to do with you. So if someone comes in my office and says, Pritch, I need some tires.
Well, they would say, Mr. Pritchett.
Yeah, sorry. Mr. Pritchett, I need tires. My responsibility, I don't do tires. It's not what I do, right? It's such low-hanging fruit for you to look in your network and say, hey, give me a minute. Give that person a warm, soft place to land, an introduction. Because what you've then built and given to that person is you built capital with them. You built human capital with them. They're always going to, man, Mr. Pritchett, man, he got me some good, that guy was good. And so in their mind, they're like, I want to work with that. That guy's got my best. He fulfilled my need, not his need. He was caring about my need. If I can fulfill your needs, if I can give you, one of my other favorite sayings is, in order to get a hug, you must first give a hug. You must first give a hug in order to want to get a hug. Everybody wants hugs, but you got to be willing to give. You got to give a hug. All right.
Give a hug to get a hug.
Yes, you have to. All right. So with that mentality in mind, with our merger with Aprio, that's one of the reasons why we merged with them. In the business world, in my opinion, every successful person in the U.S. has two things. Everyone. They got a good lawyer. They got a good CPA.
That's right. Every
single last one of them. Top down.
That is words of wisdom coming out of your mouth.
Absolutely. That is facts. As the young ones say that. Facts.
As the youngins say.
As the young facts.
So we are running out of time, but I want to just talk about a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a lightning round where I ask you questions.
Okay.
But before that, let's talk about Madrid.
Okay.
Okay. Because we've mentioned it, and for those who don't know about Madrid, it was where we first met.
Yep.
Our summer abroad.
Yep.
Was it Williams and Mary program?
You're doing good.
I came from ASU. You and Sylvia were coming out of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City University, the Harbor of the West.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Look, I don't make up these.
Is that right?
I just show up. I don't make up these people. Look, it's word on the streets. Can't help that.
And we ended up meeting at this summer abroad program.
Yes.
Right. And at that time, I had no idea that we would both end up in Arizona. I was planning on leaving back to New York. You were doing your thing.
Doing my thing.
And then here we are.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned earlier, we were talking about our dreams. And so what would you say to that younger Pritch after hearing those dreams?
Be ready for some bumps. Be ready to deal with some adversity. But if you keep your eye and your focus and your grounding in place, you can do a lot of things that you never thought you'd be able to do.
Yeah.
And at the same time, have gratitude. Don't lose the human side of things. I think this in today's world, I'm gonna have a soapbox moment right now. I know you're trying to wrap this up, but
no, you're good.
I think that we lose sight of just the human side of a lot that comes in with life. You know, we become,
I'll show this one. I can show this one. I won't show the one where I look like a video vixen. I look like a video vixen.
You got to live in the present moments and have those moments because it's fleeting. And I look back on our time in Madrid, and
we had so much fun.
We had so much fun as just younger individuals who were chasing a dream.
And for me, it was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. So I never had the opportunity to do those types of trips.
First time I've been to Europe ever.
It was, everything looked so big and new, and it was just such a new experience. And I remember it was just humbling because part of me didn't feel like I belonged there.
You have that, but I think also what it did for us, Chris, and I'm speaking for us collectively, is it allowed us to see how big the world is.
Yeah.
Right. And so it took us out of like this small town mentality and say, you know what? It's okay to have bigger dreams. It's okay to,
you're going to make me tear up. To
see some things that you would not normally see and realize, oh, they're doing that. I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. And so I look back on that time as just almost like an awakening for me. Like being able to be in Europe. That's why I love Europe to this day. It's just because it was such a awakening. It was almost like an enlightenment for me of like, wow, like there's different cultures and different awful food in Spain. And
it wasn't that bad.
It was terrible.
You remember that?
I'm not going to lie to you.
What was the restaurant that we always went to? There was like a diner that
Cats. No, not Cats.
Capital was the club we went to.
No, I was just there this summer. It's right up the street.
You went to Capital?
No.
You took your wife to Capital?
No, did not do that. Remember Cass was right on the street where we used to walk up from the school. And then there was that diner right at the Yellow or whatever.
It was the first time I ever had a hamburger that had an egg on it. And I was like, what is this?
So you got culture. You got some culture. You got some culture. See? That's where the bougie started right there.
You know what? I think you're right.
I'm sure. I'm positive.
Because I was a little in my gangster era still. Especially back from New York, I was not really, yeah.
And as the saying says, if you throw a stone, don't hide your hand. That's where I wore capris for the first time. So
I remember.
Culture, remember that?
I do remember you in capris.
It was bad luck.
Well, I mean, you're 6'7", so most pants would probably fit short on you.
It just looked like I had short pants on. That was the problem. That was the time. And by the way, just for the record, that's when short pants were not in. Nowadays, it's kind of hip and whatever. It just looks.
Listen, you looked good. You carried it well. You did well.
Thanks, Chris.
I also thought about this memory, and I don't know if you remember this because you were with us. You remember we were in Rome?
Yeah.
So we took a weekend trip to Rome.
Rolling Hills.
We went to a hostel. You remember
it was a campground.
Camping hostel.
Camping hostel.
Okay, so we were at a camping hostel. I had never been at a hostel before. We had I remember like the seats were really tiny on the planes, right? For some reason in Europe, you didn't fit in the seats. And we go to this hostel, and there's a bar in the middle of
Sunset Hills. That's the name
That's
of it.
a new. So there was a bar in the middle of the hostel where all the camping grounds are, and we're there, and there was a whole bunch of like Australians, New Zealanders, English people, and we decided, all the girls that were there decided that it would be funny to jump on the bar.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Do you remember me splitting my pants?
I do. I do. I absolutely do. You know what's the funny thing about that?
I
that
did.
time in Rome?
I thought I thought I looked so cute, and then all of a sudden I hear, and it was my pants.
I thought that was the best version of feeling like how it would be to be an athlete at the Olympics and be an Olympic Village, because it was like we had all these different, young people from all over. Like I remember the Australians flew over from Australia, rented a yellow school bus. There was like 10 dudes. And we're just driving around Europe in a yellow school bus.
And just hanging out.
Just hanging out, just going to different, hostels or whatever, just seeing Europe. And you had people from Britain, and you had people from, I remember we met some people from Russia. Like all of us would just go out during the day. And at night, we were all broke and had no money. We'd all come back to the hostel, sit around the campfire, drink way too much, and but just share life experiences. Once again, going back to that.
That's this picture.
Yeah. Eye-opening.
Eye-opening. This is the day that I split my pants in front of all these people.
That was.
Thank goodness that camera phones were not a big thing.
Yeah. Completely different era.
All right. Well, I'm so happy that I went to Madrid because I got to meet you, and now I consider you like a
Lifelong
brother.
friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even though we don't, life goes on, and we have now kids are on sports teams together. I was talking to one of my other buddies, Chris, and we were saying that like there's certain friendships you have where I don't have to talk to you every day. I don't have to talk to you every month. But when we do connect and when we do talk, it's like we pick up right where we left off. And there's no, like, those are the best friendships for me, by the way. Yeah.
Because I'm bad at friendship maintenance at times. That the ones are like, I don't need to talk to Pritch every day, but I know that he's got my back. I know I got his back. We love each other. And we, when we connect, it's like, man, these are good times. And then we just go about our lives.
I mean, I can honestly say that when about 5 or 6 years ago, when I was going through really difficult time because of my son, the business partnership and all that stuff.
Life, yeah.
It did not go unnoticed that you would call me religiously, like once a week, to say, "Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? You doing all right?" Some days you would to walk me off the ledge, and you'll be like, "You'll be okay, girl." So I love you, and I thank you for that. I did notice that you were, and I know how you don't like. I mean, your friendship style, so I get it. You just kind of are on your own. You did put a lot of effort to make sure that I was okay.
Well, I care about you. I know that you are a bright star, and there's no reason for you to feel some of the things I think you were feeling at the time. And that's what friendship's about.
Wow.
That's what it's about.
Not going to make me cry, buddy.
No.
You can't make me cry on the show. All right, ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early bird, night owl?
Night owl.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
What's your most used emoji? Oh.
Heart and an arm.
This
Strong
one?
Arm.
This one? Yeah. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, Creep by Radiohead.
Oh, I did not expect that. What instantly puts you in a good mood?
Comedy.
What's a habit you're proud of building?
Actually,
You can take it back.
Racial comedy.
Comedy?
That's gonna hit really hard with a lot of people. I'm sorry if it offends you, but I find that when people start talking about cultures and race, and they start bringing out things that are about certain cultures and races that we all know that are there to be true
and on point,
and you can identify with them, that is the funny, like making fun of yourself or your own race or culture or other races or cultures that you can identify with, that you have friends or family or whatever else. That's what makes us humans.
Well, I'm going to semi-cosign on that one.
I know you have to, because you got to be PC.
I got to get PC.
I know.
How do you handle stress when things go sideways?
I try to be mindful. I try to, meditation is a big thing for me, to try to just breathe, and then also physical, working out or whatever.
What's your biggest fear?
Not living up to my potential.
What's your proudest moment?
Living up to my potential.
What is something failure has taught you?
That it's not permanent.
What's a bucket list experience you've already checked off?
Riding with the bulls.
Riding with the bulls. And I didn't go, but I remember all of the great stories.
Why don't you tell about why you didn't go? Come on.
I don't even remember.
You went to where?
I went to Paris.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Priorities.
I went to Paris because my friend at the time was like seeing an actor or something, and they were
Priorities.
Why are you calling me out for? All right. Last question. What's one value you'll never compromise on?
What's one value I'll never compromise on? Hard work. Hard work. I think it is the soil from which everything grows. You can plant anything in there. You can literally plant good habits, bad habits, whatever. I tell my kids every day, whatever you practice, you're going to become good at. So if you practice good habits, you'll be good at them. You practice bad habits, you'll be bad at them.
Wow. Well, thank you, Pritch.
Thanks for having me, Chris. This is awesome. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. For those who don't know, Cristina Perez is a rock star. She's driven. She has done so much with her ambition that a lot of people would run from. And I always, whenever I think about you or hear about the things that you're doing, I'm never shocked because I know who my friend is.
Did I pay you to say that?
I think we split fees on that, right?
All right. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Till next time.